Hey, we're back again this week, and we are coming to you together for a change. So we're doing that because this week we have a real Brew sponsor. So we are very excited to announce that this week we're sponsored by Michigan Wine Company. And we're going to be enjoying the Grant Township Sweet Cider here. So pour some for my friend Nick.
Let's say, I'm very excited. First, we want to give a big shout out. Thank you so much for the bottle. I enjoy ciders. David enjoys ciders. We drink them a lot on these shows. So, smells great.
What do you think of the taste?
I haven't tasted it.
Well, let me know.
It's a good, refreshing cider.
It is. Yeah. Nice and sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sick.
So Michigan Wine Company is owned by my daughter's former bowling coach. I believe her husband's name's Joe. Her name's Erica Krukavich, and they were nice enough to donate this bottle for us, and we said we'd give them a great shout out because we're thrilled anytime anybody gives us something free to drink.
It's the first time we've gotten paid. Yes! We've made it in life.
We're winning this week.
Yes! All the financial tips have paid off.
Yes, they have. So we're going to talk about day trading this week. We're going to talk about some individual stocks, some ways to maybe enhance your portfolio after we talk about day trading. Nick and I have a little bit of experience in that, and we really want to give some information to you out there. That way, if that's something that interests you, it at least gives you a nice starting point. I know Nick did some day trading during COVID and even before that, really.
I did it while I was working my job. Yeah,
it's no wonder you don't work there anymore.
Yeah, I was out there. So their loss, my gain. But no, so I'm not a professional day trader. Don't claim to be. I don't know if I got lucky or if I just followed rules and stuck to them. So I'm going to give you a little backstory on kind of what I did, what I seen, and things that professionals say they're giving you advice. So, so to set the rules, I guess, so a day trader, you have to do a buy and sell of the same stock in the same day. Throughout 1 week, you have to do it 4 times. Anything less, you're not a day trader. Right? So let's say I bought, let's say Michigan Wine Company, let's say they have a stock. Let's say I bought theirs at 9 a.m. It went up $1 and I felt comfortable. So I sold it, a second later, made the $1. Now, if I did that one day, now I took the whole rest of the day off because I was happy with how much I made. But Tuesday I went in, did the same thing. That's 2 trades right there. Now, if I did the same, I could do it all in one day. I could do it all within 1 week. So that exact same stock, buy and sell on the same day is considered a day trade. So when I started, I practiced, right? I kept my 3 limit and just kind of stuck with it. So I'd buy, I'd sell, rebuy, and then hold it usually. But to make it official, you do have to have $25,000 into whatever app or whatever a company you're using, right? I use TD Ameritrade. For mine, they were giving me free trades for the first 90 days. There's companies that will give you that. And so, but one of the requirements, so once I wanted to do 4, I have to put 25,000 in there. It's federal rule. Right? So what it does is it makes it so they figure if you have $25,000 that you're willing to just blow and lose, because it's not a guarantee, that they consider you smart enough as an investor to actually give that, to give it a shot. Because they don't want people who have like $100 just to, go in there and lose that money and then they're screwed, right? So, you do have to. Now, if you're doing the 3 or less, you can get away with any amount of money you want. But once you hit that 4th, they force you to put that money in. Otherwise, they will not let you be a legal day trader. Let's see. I know that, when I did it, I kind of just started out. I seen a stock I liked. did a bunch of research on this thing, right? And kept watching it fluctuate. And I was like, all right, time to get in. So I slowly bought it, gained a little bit of money, and sold it. Bought again, lost a little bit, and was like, well, I don't want to lose all that gain I just had, so I'm going to quickly sell it because I got scared. I don't want to play that. And so, the advice I'll give you is do a lot of research, figure out what a good company is, one that moves quite a bit, and know that it's honestly the biggest risk for investing that anybody can take, right? I mean, if you're supposed to set it and forget it, that's the most mindset for what stocks are, right? Is set, forget, let it grow. This is all right. I have to be on it because I have to set where I want my losses. I have to figure out how much I actually want to earn and then stick with that because once you hit that point, yeah, it could keep going, but like that risk factor, you have to be comfortable with something, right? And sometimes you're right in that it'll fall right after. Sometimes you're wrong and it'll grow, but you have to be the kind of person to not think about that type of a thing. Oh, what could have been? Oh, it should have been. Oh, I got it at the wrong time. Like, really, it's just no nerves.
Well, the big thing is you have to know what you're willing to risk. And in doing research, what I found was most successful day traders are only trading 1% to 2% of whatever they have with that brokerage account. So if you have, let's say $100,000 in there, you're only trading $1,000, maybe $2,000. That way you're not overly leveraging anything and you're minimizing those potential losses. So, when we look at that, they're smart enough so that they're minimized on the losses for whatever that trade is. You have a specific amount of time, you're looking at this. And if you're just starting out, one of the biggest things, and Nick said to me before we started here, we were looking at, some tricks for, starting out. One of them was, start small. So he started, he stuck his foot in the water and he's like, all right, I kind of got the hang of this. And then, he started making a few more trades and, and like he said, you can't sit there and worry about what might be. You say, okay, I'm really good if this stock gains $1 and I'm out at that point. And if it gains $3 after that, you have to say, all right, well, no big deal. I got what I wanted. I knew I was good with that $1. And now, I'm moving on with my day and I'm looking at something else, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Here's a quick story. So I started doing research on a different stock than I was normally trading. And everybody, there's forums out there and people were like, hey, this. So I decided to look at a different stock and I'm watching this thing just grow. So I was like, you know what? I took part of my money and threw it over here. And that thing grew like crazy, right? I bought it for like 20. It grew to $90. I made a lot of money. And I stuck with it. I didn't trade it off. And so then the next morning comes around and I'm getting ready to sell this thing, right? Because market's closed, but it still keeps going. And I'm getting ready to sell this thing, the first thing. And the stock opens at 9 o'clock, right? The market. And at 8:30, they had a partial buyout of the stock. And they sold so many shares for $25 each stock, right? So like this company said, hey, you're only valued at this. And this company said, yeah, sure, that sounds great to us. Like, we'll take that investment. So right, I went from like 90, like 100 and something bucks. I was up $18,000. Thought I hit like the jackpot, right? I was like, I'm planning my vacation already. I got everything booked. And, come to find out, right when the stock opens, like that thing had dropped and I actually lost money on it. And I was like, oh man, but I didn't lose, I say I only lost, I got it real quick and lost like $1 each, each share that I had. So it added up to a little bit, but nothing crazy. I earned it back by going to a different one. So you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, literally I was shaking. I was sitting here going, and then I'm watching like $50 just plummet off this thing, and then 10, and it just and I'm like, there was nothing I could do about it because the stock market wasn't open and I couldn't trade. So I called TD Ameritrade, and I found out before the stock's open, you can actually set a sell price. So let's say so normally when you set a sell price, buy and sell when the stock market's open, it's a guarantee that somebody will buy it or sell it for that price. When it's closed, you have to go in and set a price. So let's say it's sitting at $90. If I wanted to go in and sell it for 85, I could put that, and somebody has to have the opportunity to buy that. So they could have made that $5 position. They would have taken my risk, and I would have lost $5 from what it actually valued.
Yep.
But you have to get somebody has to actually do that. And at that time, with how it was looking, people could have. I didn't know I could go in and do that. So I learned something really quick, and so I won't make that mistake twice. So.
Well, again, you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
So, I mean, we will jump into, Nick and I are famous for this. We jump into investments without knowing 100% of what we're doing because
5%.
Yeah, we are risk takers. So we're okay with taking some risk, but we don't do it crazy. Like, we're not going in with $10,000. We're going in with, $50.
Yeah.
Hey, I got $50. I'll take a gamble on this. That's not a big deal. If I lose $50, it sucks. But at the end of the day, it's $50. It's eating out once.
Yeah. Also, just to let you guys know. So when I talk about the $25,000, you don't have to be spending $25,000. You just have to have it sitting there, right? So you have to have it invested in this, like TD Ameritrade, right? So you have the opportunity to spend 25, but if you only wanted to play with $50, right? Like you said, hey, I'm going to do this, and so you could just buy and sell for $50 type of a thing. And again, it's just like let's say you start out and you're like, hey, this one cost me. We always say, the old saying is, right, don't mess with penny stocks. Anything less than $5 isn't usually a good stock. With my first one, it was like a $23 stock, but actually had plummeted down because they got in a lawsuit, and so it was down to $3.18. And I was like, that's this company's not going to go bankrupt. They're a good company, and if they do go bankrupt, then I lost $100. Like if it happens today. But otherwise, like my personal opinion is like it's a $21 stock. It's going to get back up there. So I kept trading. I let it sit, and it finally grew to like $8. So I made decent money off of my 3. But I didn't invest. I didn't play with all 25,000. So that's the biggest key is just know that you have to have it there if you're doing day trading, but you don't have to actually spend it all.
So one of the things is when I'm trading, and I'm no day trader, okay? But when I'm trading, I always use a limit order. Okay? I tell it what I'm willing to spend on the stock, and I put in the order, let's say I'm buying, we're just going to use Apple as an example. I don't know what their current price is, but I did a stock split a week or two ago, and I know it was around $108 a stock. Okay, so let's say I'm willing to buy 5 at $107. I put in that order. If it hits $107, that order will get filled. If it doesn't, it's just not getting filled. I know what I want to spend. This is what I'm willing to do. And that order stays open for the day. And if it gets filled, great.
Yeah, and I want to touch base with that. So what David's saying, right? So let's say the stock, right? Let's say the stock splits and it's 107.50 cents, right? So if it drops all the way to 107 and 1 penny, but his buy is 107 on the dot, like, yeah, you think to yourself, oh, I would have paid that extra penny, and like then it skyrocketed. No, it doesn't matter. Like it filled it at 107. Like it said, hey, you wanted it at this price. So right, you gotta figure out where you're comfortable exactly buying that thing, because oh yeah, everybody would like to get it at its absolute lowest, and that's pretty much what you're doing is guessing. Hey, this is what we can do. Thank you. We're gonna go through this. This stuff's great.
Yeah, this bottle's damn near gone.
So, and you when you choose to sell, right? So you're gonna choose to sell, and let's say we bought that same one, hey, 107, and we want to sell it at 110. Well, let's say, right, it goes from 109.98. It hasn't reached that 10, but now let's say it goes to 110 and 5 cents, right? So like you sell it for 110, but they'll actually give you that 105, as long as it didn't hit that one or the 110 right at that, it'll hit the 110.05. It'll actually give you that. But once it hits that mark, that's what it sells at. So if it never reaches it, it never sells. So again, same thing. If it goes to like 109.99 and it plummets from there, you were like, oh, I would have taken that penny loss. Well, you should have, right? Like, I mean,
well, the same thing if you're buying it. So if you say I'll buy this at 107,
yep.
and it's at 107.10 all day, you're not getting it. Then all of a sudden it drops to 106.90. You're getting the stock for 106.90 because it never hit that 107 mark. It went below it. So you're willing to spend $107. Anytime it hits 107 or less, you're buying it. Anytime it's over 107, all bets are off. You're not getting anything. So when I'm trading, you know, and I did a bunch of trades last week, which we'll get into later. I will watch the stock. So if, you know, I say 107 on Apple and, you know, they're sitting at 108 to start the day, and I log in, you know, let's say a couple hours after the market opens and it's up to 112, I know I'm probably not getting the stock for 107. Now, if I really want Apple at that point, I need to increase that minimum amount that I'm willing to pay. So maybe now, instead of saying, yeah, 107, maybe I'll go 110 now. So I'm costing myself $3 a share, but at least I know that, hey, I got a shot at still getting the stock at a price that's reasonable to me.
Sure. Well, so, you know, I want to talk about one of the stocks that, you know, we're going to talk about individual stocks. That's kind of what tonight is. It's not necessarily the portfolio things that we've talked about. It's individual, one specific. So yesterday, right, before the great debate, we seen that Disney, right? Because I know you invested in Disney.
I did.
Disney just announced they're laying off
28,000.
28,000 employees. So I just looked up their stock, right, and they dropped $1.32. You know, their aftermarket isn't looking great right now. They've gone up from close. They've gone up 6 cents. But you know, so it's not. You have to pay attention to those things, right? When you're a day trader, like once that news comes out, you have to figure out, hey, is this a good news or is this bad news?
Yep.
Like, honestly, to me, like you're getting rid of staff. Yeah. Like, so theoretically it's showing that your company's not doing successful, but you're cutting all that man hours, right? So they're still going to make their money, but they're not, you know, so they're not growing. They're not.
Right.
So for us to invest in Disney right now, they're proving that they're not expanding and they're not employing more people. They're not doing, you know, all the same stuff we talked about last week on the economy thing. They're not expecting to build right now. So I can't say, you know, Disney might be one of those things where it might be good to day trade, right? Because it's going to have its ups because Disney's always a good thing. But know that, like, your big percentage right now is going to go, like, lower. So, you know, focus on, like, hey, when it hits that low and, like, you see it maybe go up like a penny, or whatever it goes up, you know, 10 cents at a time, like try to play those little numbers, right? But I mean, you know, don't sit here and think day trading is I'm going to put in $1, wait for it to get 10, and then it'll drop down to $1 in 10 minutes and then go up to 10. It's not really how it works. You're not going to, you know, the way you kind of get rich on this is like you buy a bunch of stocks, make a bunch of quick money, sell it, and then wait for that little bit, right, watch it go again type thing. So you don't really day trade with just one stock, you know, because, you know, I guess if you find that really awesome stock that just skyrockets, but that's really hard to find. So, you know, you'll never, I can't say you'll never, right? It's going to happen, but you're not going to invest $10 and have it turn into 100. So even at $90, that's not a lot of money, right? Like we throw away $90 way too often.
Yep.
I mean, as we said, like, you know, we'll flip a quarter here after this and probably lose $90 to each other. So, but you know, so right, I always suggest, hey, you know, like buying that like $20 range type thing. You know, if you buy 5 of them and they go up $1, that's $5, right? You know, where if you buy one, you know, if you buy $1 one and it goes up to $5, like that's times itself way too many times. Like, you know, you've only made 4 there, but like chances are slim to where if you make $1 on one, like that's huge money in the stock market game. Like $1 change is pretty big.
So because you brought up Disney, and you know, if you've watched us before, you know we've done an episode on Dan Price. I absolutely love following Dan Price on Twitter. He's a fantastic follow. 23 hours ago, Disney's laying off 28,000 workers during the pandemic. It issued a $1.5 billion dividend to shareholders. The CEO temporarily cut compensation by 5%. The CEO made 1,242 times the median worker, and execs got bonuses in return to regular base pay in August. So they're not hurting. It just depends on where the money's going. It's going to shareholders. It's going to executives. It's going to the CEO. It's not going to the person running around in Mickey Mouse.
Right. Well, and that's, so now's a good time to talk about that, right? Like, yep. I said we're going to talk about this sometime, but I don't blame Disney for paying their shareholders, right? Because those are the people that have invested in them. Those are David and me.
Yep.
Those are you guys that are watching us, right? You guys, you're taking your money and saying, hey, it's like, we always hear about these people where it's like, oh, your daddy paid for this. No, your dad invested in you to do great things in the future. You're being daddy at this point. Hey, Disney, go get it, kid, right? Like, and so you're taking your money and you're going with it. So I don't blame them for paying out their shareholders. At this point, like, I blame them for a 5% pay cut on millions of, was he making like $100 million a year? Like,
oh yeah, easy.
So you took 5%, but now these 28,000 people are literally no money. Like they took 100% pay cut. You took 5%. Good for you, right? Like, so it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see that because that Disney's been around forever. They have the money. They could afford it. They just have to restructure at the top. Like, we respect a lot of, we'll talk about football players, right? Like, okay, so you look at some football players out there that are, hey, our salary cap's getting real close, and they're like, you know what? I'll take a pay cut to stay on the team because I love the team, I love my players, and we're gonna get another guy who's gonna help us win the Super Bowl. So like, they respect that. And you get the other guys that are like, nope, I'm going to go to a different team, make more money, and they're hoping that they're going to be the one to help them change that. But, these people are like, hey, I'm going to build this big team really good versus, hey, I'm going to take me and care about me. So, everybody sees it when it happens. I think that's one thing everybody respects about a lot of players is like, oh, my gosh, you just made our team better by taking a little bit of a pay cut. Like, yeah, cool. As long as we make salary cap, I'm all right with that.
Yeah. And you look at it, it really comes down to we're a very greed-based society, especially in the United States. And the people at the top want to get theirs. And I don't begrudge them that for a minute. But at the same time, I'm a business owner. I know that, we just officially hired our first employee. She's 16 years old. She makes $11 an hour because I need her to care about my business as much as I care about my business. Nick, when you were 16 years old, did you have a job?
Yes.
What did you make an hour?
A lot.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You know what I made? $4.25 I made.
I say at 16. No, at 16. So from 14. Yeah, let's say I got my first job at 14. I was working in a bowling alley. I was making $18 an hour, which was crazy. The owner, he's just like, hey, look, come work and stuff like that. So I was pin chasing doing that. Probably at like 16 and a half, I no longer did that and started going back to, I think I made like $8 an hour.
Yeah.
Doing a crap job. But so like I had my dream job back then, and then I lost it because a new owner came in. So, but no, I blew every dime with that stuff I had when I was 14, right? Like, the first thing I wanted was a video camera, so like I earned all that money to get just so I can watch myself bowl and make sure I can critique myself
and get better.
Yeah, so it was all for good cause, I guess. But but back then, yeah, like I don't know, $6, $7, $8 an hour. I don't remember. I remember, but I also worked for. Like my grandparents or whatever. Like I just pulled weeds all day for, what did I get? I got fed. Like, shut up, kid, you got a house, right? Like, so no, it's, now 16-year-old making $11 an hour, right? They want to be there. They're like, I can afford to buy things that my parents couldn't afford to buy me, or, that you get the choice at that point. You can choose what you want, right? Like, they get the independence they can afford a car for car insurance. Like, they're not working 40 hours a week. But,
no.
They're working enough to get by. date nights and
Well, at
prom tickets.
our business, if she's working 6 hours a week, that's probably a lot.
Mhm.
That's $66,
Yeah.
before taxes, obviously. And if you're a teenage kid and you're working 6 hours, you're making $60, you're pretty happy, I would think.
Oh yeah, $50 a week take home type thing. Like, yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah,
Fills my tank, does everything I need at that point. Like,
you can buy some shoes. I know with her, she's you.
yes.
She loves shoes
Yeah.
just like he does.
Yeah.
And all she does is when she's sitting at work and not busy is looking up new shoes to buy.
Already spending her money, right?
Right.
She should be looking up stocks.
She should, honestly.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna teach this kid while she's there to go back to stocks.
So there's 4 basic strategies when it comes to day trading. And I'm going to run through them real quick, and then we're going to get into actual, stocks, individual stocks that we're looking at. Nick's going to, fill some time here while I go get another beer because we've drank through Michigan Wine Company's Grant Township, which, again, Michigan Wine Company, thank you for the sponsorship. This was awesome.
Guys, just anybody, we know a lot of our local friends are watching, so we're going to give a big shout out one more time. Michigan Wine Company, they're in Fenville,
Michigan.
Honestly, you take the highway, make the quick left, and they're half a mile down the road, right on the left-hand side, right off the highway.
Yep.
If you're coming from Grand Rapids, so if you're coming from the north, the south, you're gonna make the right, and they'll still be on the left. So, yeah, they're a good company. Great cider. I can't wait to go have another one. I'm going to, I did bring over another beer, so I'm going to crack it open. I'm not going to give a shout out because it doesn't need to, because we have this great sponsor, and but we're enjoying this. So go get your beer and.
Well, I'm going to talk about this before I run out real quick. So strategies for day trading. There's 4 basic types. There's swing trading, arbitrage, trading news, and mergers and acquisitions. So ranking these, a swing trade is a very high risk but a very high reward, which Nick and I are always big on high rewards. Arbitrage is a low risk and a medium reward, which if you're not very risky, that's probably where you want to be. Trading news has medium risk with medium reward, which I'm telling you right now, if you're equal, I think it's a waste, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you're not making anything, in my opinion. I mean, that's just us. We're high.
Right.
We want, again, I don't put money on black hoping to get less money back.
Correct.
I put a bunch of money out there and hope that it goes.
Yeah, and then mergers, acquisitions, it's a medium risk for a high reward. So, I mean, if I was trading, it would be either a medium risk for a high reward or a low risk for a medium reward, because I want to make sure I'm making money on my money. I work hard for my money.
Yeah.
I want to make more money.
When I think, when we talk about this trading, right, and I like to talk about my examples, right? Because I like to give you guys prime examples of what we're actually doing. So, I want to give you guys a couple of things. When I started, I knew nothing, right? I kept talking about wanting to trade, and I was talking about it with a friend of mine, and he's like, "Oh man, I use TD Ameritrade," and I was like, "What?" All right, so I downloaded this thing. He taught me how to create a username and password because I'm horrible with technology. That's why I'm at David's place using his laptop and stuff. But what I did was I looked at it, and then I knew what stock I already wanted to buy, so I figured out how to deposit money. It cleared right away. I was like, cool, I'm on the road. So then I started realizing, hey, I'm making a little bit of money. I'm kind of doing this, and then I got to my first. I didn't know what day trading. I knew what day trading was in the back of my mind, but I didn't know. So I made my third ever back-to-back day trades, right? And it pops up with a message like, just realize you have to have $25,000 to trade your next time, and so you can't sell this until another week, right? And I was like, oh, okay. So I started learning what day trading was by doing that. By researching the company that I researched, I learned, hey, if I look into a company and start understanding what they do and how they do it, I'm gonna learn what to do. So I typed it into Google, found this, and then I think I found Stock Twitch, right? Which Stock Twitch shows me what's moving at like the highest amount right now, or what's like really bad, and it gives you like a rating of like, don't buy, hold, strong buy, strong sell, like, and so it's like, all right, sell it, buy, and so it's like, I have a strong buy, heck yeah, like, so you start looking, and then I don't know, I think I was looking into one, and I found a chat room or like a forum, but like it was like a forum / chat room, so like it wasn't really forum because it didn't list out everything. It was more like, hey, you type in one specific stock and it shows you like all these other people that are following that exact stock, and they give their opinions, and then right, I mean, just like everything, so everybody's got an opinion, so then but once you see like multiple people that are like, hey, you should follow this one, and so I do it, and like it'd be a flake and do it, and but like then you get to like, you just got to follow them all. You got to follow every lead, and all of a sudden somebody was like, "Hey, check this one out," and I was like, "Oh, it's doing. Oh man, like it's all right. I'm in. Like let's go. Like off to the races." And so everybody's opinion sucks. You have to make your own personal opinion. But like, there's people out there who are. I always say there's people out there who are willing to help. You just got to find that right person that's kind of got that same mindset as you, and build that relationship through like a little chat thing. Like everybody can see what you're saying, but you're just like, okay, cool. Like, so I'd click on people and it would show like what ones they're following and what ones I'm following. And I'm like, all right, this person knows what they're doing. Oh, this person literally is just buying things that are like a penny and praying that they go up. Like most people don't know that like when you buy a penny stock, like it can go to like half of a penny. You know how you see gas out there for like $2.08, 0.9, right? Like that's actual stock. Like that 0.9 is a real thing. Like in internet money or in like stock money, like nobody's ever seen a ninth of a penny. I mean, I grew up by a train track, so we'd always throw a penny out there and watch it get cut in half. But don't try to pay with that, right? Like, here, this is one ninth of a penny. Like, this is what I owe you. No, but yeah, so like you can get to like a fifth of a cent on some of these things, and so I got to a point where I had a buddy who he's like, oh man, you're doing pretty well. Like, tell me what to buy. And I'm like, I can't. Like, I don't know anything. I'm just getting lucky type thing. But I was like, all right, fine. Hey, do this one. And he's like, all right, I want in. So he does this one. I was like, but the only condition I have is if I say sell, you have to either sell or live with your decisions. And he's like, okay. And so like I get into it and I sell, and he's like, oh, I fell asleep. And I was like, bro, I texted you, said sell, like I did all the work for you. And he did fine. It rebounded like, I don't know, an hour later type thing. But like that was like, it could ruin a friendship, right? I didn't want any part of it. But he's like, oh, I trust you. And I was like, I trust me too with my money. I don't trust, like when I have responsibility as somebody else's money, I'm like, no, like I'll keep. It's funny because like right now I have cash in my pocket, right? And it's like outside of my wallet. If David gave me money, it's like in my wallet, tucked between two cards. I'm like, this is specifically David's money. Like, I say, even with my kid, right? Like whenever she has money that she gets to spend on her birthday, I'm like, specifically hers, she gets it. Like, no, I don't worst case scenario, it's on a card or anything.
When we hit the end of this episode, bring up kids again. Because I want to have a little shout out for kids here at the end of this. So, talking about individual stocks, and this is near and dear to my heart. So I get an email last week from Ally. Ally has decided to lower their interest rates to 0.6%. And I think we talked about this a little bit last week. When interest rates are going down, you have to question, okay, where's the economy? Because for me, when interest rates suck, economy is always in trouble.
Yeah, and I say we hit on that quite a bit last week. So and we talked about employment. Now we're like, yes, okay. So I can tell everybody I'm the example, right? Like I was one of 950 of 6,000, right? Like that's 18%, right? Like that's big. Okay, so now we have Disney. I don't know how many employees they have, but like 28,000. Now we're looking at large corporate. Like they're laying off. Like, all right, so we talked about this. Like, it's not looking great. Yes, okay. According to some people, the economy's doing amazing. But no, like these small little things you'll see start to add up.
Yeah, we are in a recession. They won't tell you we are, but we are. GDP's down. It's just the way things are. So of course I'm looking at the money.
Yep.
And most of my investments are made on Caitlin's behalf because she has money sitting there not doing anything. Okay, I'm paying bills. I'm running a business. I don't have, $20,000 to jerk around with. Okay, now I called Caitlin last week and I'm like, listen, you're not earning anything on Ally anymore. I mean, it's basically nothing. So I think it's time to take this money and do something. She goes, well, what were you thinking? I said, I'm thinking I'm just going to take $10,000 and throw it at the market. Which, scary?
Right now, for me, yeah.
Yeah, scary. So
10,000 is a lot of coin.
It is. So I start looking, and when I'm looking for stocks, I'm looking for growth potential. I'm looking for what pays consistently high dividends and what's a strong company, like in a field that will not be, or touched really by the recession.
Yeah, so the terms, yeah.
So, some of the things I decided to do last week were I bought Apple. I only bought 5 shares of Apple, but I mean, that's $500. I went out and bought Amazon. Amazon is over $3,000 a share. How many shares do you think I bought, Nick?
Half.
I bought one full share.
One full share.
One full share of Amazon. And there were other ones. CVS. I looked into CVS. They're a great dividend payer. Obviously, it's healthcare because they run a lot of pharmacies and they have a lot of mail order prescriptions. So strong company. I bought 10 shares of CVS, figuring that, they're going to at least hold value, if not make money over the next, year or so. I don't know if I'll keep these in much longer than a year, but, for a while at least. Bought some Johnson & Johnson, another medical company.
Yeah, I see.
And the things I bought, a lot of them are established companies with a long track record.
Which is huge.
They're not, with us looking for, a bigger space, we keep hearing things, from places, and they're like, well, if you had like the history of a J.C. Penney, we might be willing to have you come in here, but, you've only been around for a year, so we're not that interested in you. And I got to tell you, Nick, you think J.C. Penney's going to be around in 5 years?
I didn't know they were around. I thought they declared bankruptcy.
They probably did,
Yeah.
But they're still kind of around.
Yeah.
But are you worried about CVS going out of business right now?
No.
No.
Walgreens, I'm Rite Aid, say all these things. I mean, I look at those things and call them sound investments, right?
Yep.
Like it's an educated decision because it's a thing that's going to always be around. Yes, there could be a company that comes and like destroys it, right? Like there's a possibility that a new Walgreens comes in and says, hey, look, we're going to offer everybody such cheap prescriptions. We're going to do, with Amazon, we're going to do Amazon, ordering of prescriptions online, and it's going to be sent to directly to your house. So they might reinvent it, but like for now, for the next like 50 years, let's call it, like Walgreens will be around because like even at that, like there's people like me or my grandparents or even my mom. Like my mom's not gonna order online, right? Nope. Like her prescription, and like people get prescriptions like crazy. So they're like, I'm gonna go specifically to the store, get my thing, make sure it's there, like read the label. Like, yeah, younger generation, right? They'll be like, no, I'm good. Like it'll happen. So like when I'm running low on a medication or something, like I go in, make sure it's filled. Like, I mean, I'm old school. Like, let's be honest. We talked about that. Like, I still go pay my mortgage, right? Like, physically hand cash over and say, here we go. So, it's going to be around forever. Like, during a recession, right? So the things that we know for sure are staples are when people are depressed. So, like, when a recession happens, when people are depressed, they buy alcohol. So, like, let's look that up, like, real quick. Like, we talk about Anheuser-Busch all the time. Like, let's look it up, like, see what their stock is. Right? But, like, so we know that people will always take their prescriptions.
Yep.
We see the commercials out there, like, hey, you can't afford your prescription. Like, what is it?
Contact us. And
go to, yeah. Now the commercials are like, hey, contact us and we'll talk about it. Or, like, we just came out with a new medical card, like GoodRx or whatever it is. Like, hey, we'll give you a prescription discount. And so, like, these things will, like, people need to survive. And so prescriptions will become lower. The only thing on the debate that I kind of got out of it was like if anybody watched the debate last night, I'm sorry. I don't care what side you're on. Honestly, I don't. It was a crap show both ways.
Yep.
Like, but right, the one thing I got was like they're both on the plan. Like whether it's like Obamacare or whatever Trump's thing. Trump even said like, I'm gonna go buy prescriptions from different countries and that's gonna make it cheap. Biden's like, I want to make prescriptions cheap. So like, we know prescriptions are gonna get cheap, right? Like, so but everybody needs prescriptions. It's a thing that has to happen. Like, I think that's a thing. So right, again, we talk about when you're depressed, people buy alcohol. People, whether it's you when you have money, you go to a bar and buy alcohol. When you're poor, you go to the store and buy alcohol.
Yes.
Like you don't stop drinking alcohol, right? You
just do it in a different way.
Yeah, so you do it in a cheaper form. Like,
well, it's funny because the alcohol thing came up the other day. I ran over to Horrocks and Dawn's like, "Hey, do you need to pick up something?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have much, and I'll need something for the next couple weeks for shows." And she's like, "All right." And we get there, and she sees this 4-pack of Hazel's Nuts beer from somebody, I don't know. Nick
it's pronounced Oddside Ales.
Okay, it is Oddside. Okay,
oh, for sure.
I wasn't sure. Oddside makes great beers. So she sees this and she's like, "I really want to get a 4-pack of this for you because Nick raves about it." And I looked at the price and it was $40, and I'm like, "Fuck, I'm cheap. I'm not paying that. I would pay that at the bar for 4 beers, but I'm not paying that at my house for 4 beers." I tell Nick ran right out to Horrocks and bought 3 packs of Hazel's Nuts. And
I bought Hazel's Nuts. I bought Hazel's Nuts with raspberry, Hazel's Nuts with toasted marshmallow and coconut.
Yeah.
And I bought a Big Bad Baptist quad barrel. Yep. So that was a great $140 quickly. So,
just go. And like he said, we'll spend those things in different ways. So I would spend that at the bar if, I'm feeling good about my money, but I'm not spending that at my house.
Yeah.
Nick's like, "Hey, that's a bargain for me. I'm going to go get that right now." Yeah. So and it really depends on the position you sit in. And, when we look at recessions and stuff, Nick brought it up, consumer staples, alcohol is always going to be bought. For smokers, nicotine's always going to be bought. I don't understand smoking, but, the smokers buy it constantly. Toilet paper. I mean, we saw at the beginning of the pandemic, everybody bought the hell out of toilet paper.
It's the craziest thing.
It was. And I don't know who goes to the bathroom that much.
And I played it down, right? I was like, whatever. It'll like rebound. It's like we got down to like 3 rolls, and I started looking, and I was like,
"There's no toilet paper."
I probably should have went and should have taken this more seriously and started looking earlier, but no. Just before. So we have a family fair. I'm not sure if that's worldwide or nationwide family fair. Spartan
is.
Yeah, Spartan is. So they were running like buy 2 get 3 free on like 36 packs, and I got fortunate that my mom bought like 5 packs. So she comes in like a superhero, like, "I got you," and I'm like, I'll be honest, it was like cheap stuff, and my bum needs that Charmin like ultra soft. Like if I'm gonna have to use toilet paper, it's gonna be real baby soft. Like so, but no, like that's a thing that's always gonna be around. Like we live in a world where, like, and most people, so talking about toilet paper, like, we in America have updated plumbing. Like, other parts of the world don't use toilet paper, and people are like, "That's gross." And I'm like, why do they teach you to wash your hands?
That's
like,
right.
This is the thing. Like, other countries don't waste. Yes, it's a waste it's not a waste for us because we were raised that way, but, like, it's a waste for everybody else. They're like, forget that. Like, I use a bidet, like, just use a towel. There you go. But, staples, right? So,
well, and here's a question for you. Useless trivia knowledge that I know. You know why they're called soap operas?
No.
They're called soap operas because, of course, they were on, from, say, 1 o'clock until 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Till the news came on.
Major sponsor for soap operas? Procter & Gamble.
Oh, there we go.
Procter & Gamble sponsored all these soap operas. What's Procter & Gamble make?
Soap.
Yup.
Yeah. Huh.
Learned something new today.
I say today's that day. We get a sponsor, and I learned something new. No, so, we want to talk. So we're going to move a little bit from day trading. We still want to hit on it. We hope we've answered every question for you guys on what it looks like to do day trading. If you have any more questions, like give us feedback and stuff like that, we're definitely willing to answer it. We want to talk, again about investing. If you're looking at, like David said, he's only holding it for a year. I don't call it day trading, but that's not investing to me, right? Like,
And I'm not saying it will only
short-term investing.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not saying it will only be a year, but I'm sitting there looking at this, going, okay, well, if interest rates come back up, if
for sure,
if
your money's worth going to another spot, like
correct, I'm sitting there going, I know in the foreseeable future, let's say the next year, because we're always looking at a year to 18 months, okay?
Sure.
Looking at that, I'm saying, okay, I can dump this money here. It's probably not going to lose. It's probably going to gain, or stay the same.
Yeah, I say real close to it, right? Like,
yeah.
Worst case scenario, you're above 0.06%.
Correct, right? and that's what I'm looking for at this point.
That's it, and so your chances are you can gain, let's call it 10% if you're absolutely crazy lucky. Worst case scenario, you probably lose 0.06%. Like, it's worth that gamble.
It is.
You know for a fact you're only going to gain in that time 0.06% in your money. So you got 10,000 in there, you're making 60 cents. Like, so.
Well, when I look at return on investment for the stocks I put Caitlin in.
Yeah.
She's always anywhere from 6% to 12%. Which is that's a great return to me. Most checking accounts weren't paying 6% or savings account.
Even back then.
Yeah. So if I can make her 4 or 5%, I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, and that I say, right now, we talk about, we brag about the fact that we get 3% around here and 4% on
a checking account,
which is great, but you still have to do work. This one you can set it, and you're pretty well. Nothing's a guarantee. Everything can lose. We want to be clear about that. Everything can lose. But like, you're pretty well educated to know that that's gonna go up.
Yep.
Like, you know what? If you don't hit 10%, but you hit 6%, like, you're still pretty happy.
Yeah, that's a win.
It's huge. If I get a guaranteed 6, I'm probably going to pay it out type thing. Like, I get hit up all the time for real estate money. Like, hey, I'll give you 8% on your money, and I'm like, still a big risk, because like, if the market changes in that, like, and you don't finish the job or you don't do this, like, if it takes an extra day, granted, you can add fees and add whatever, but like, I don't want that, right? Like, I just want that, like, I want that guarantee, right? Like, hey, you know what? And because if I put my money into one person that I know, they have a chance to fail. If I put my money into a company that's shown, just like you, right? Like they said, if you were JCPenney, we would probably do it, but you've only been around for a year. I take that educated, like, they've been around forever. Like, yes, we're watching some forever ones. Like, I'm going to date myself. Now, I say I'm pretty young, but like, Circuit City was a thing, right? And then they just couldn't keep up with the online ordering. They couldn't keep up with everything that was happening electronically.
Circuit City, CompUSA.
Yeah.
Sears is on its last leg. Kmart.
Oh, what is Kmart? No, that's where I grew up shopping, was Kmart.
So, I always joke around with this. When I was a kid, the cheap places to go for things, which we didn't shop at a lot, but once in a while, was, let me know if you've ever been in one. A Big Wheel?
No.
Zayre?
No.
Venture?
No.
Ames?
No.
These were all,
What's that one company that had the big old catalog? There used to be one in
Penny's and
no,
Sears both had big catalogs.
I remember Sears, but this was they used to do the roof sit for kids over in Wyoming on top of the building. But yeah, this thing come out like this big old catalog, and reminded you of a phone book. If you guys know what a phone book is, besides your cell phone, I'd say no. So right, but like these companies, you could be around for years and still fail. Yep. You could be around for a day and fail. You can be around. So, but again, when you take the educated risk and see, like, honestly, back then, JCPenney was the educated risk. But once they came out, now with technology, we have so much faster to get the stuff where, it's not insider trading because it's already out. But like, hey, JCPenney's going to declare bankruptcy. So you're like, boom, sell, because, I don't want that thing no more, man. Like,
well, and you don't know this. So I'm a kid. I was born in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s. As far as I'm concerned, the past decade. And when the JCPenney Wish Book came out, which was around August, it had a whole bunch of stuff in it, but it had an entire section of toys. These are the new toys coming out for Christmas. And I would take that thing and I would take a pen and I would circle the shit I wanted. And I was so excited. They had the new Millennium Falcon, or they had Castle Grayskull, and I was so excited about these toys. Nick was born 10 years after me.
I was born in '88. Okay.
Okay, 11 years
I was
after
born
me.
in his favorite decade. Thank you.
11 years after me. Did you ever grab the JCPenney catalog and circle anything? Because I don't think that was a thing then.
No, I grabbed the newspaper and circled my thing in the flyers,
Yep.
right? Because that's what we did. And it didn't matter what I circled because every morning I woke up, I had a plastic sled and whatever the hell my parents decided to buy me.
Yep.
So I didn't have that choice. But no, you know, so right, be educated when you're making these decisions. If you're gonna day trade, don't just go on to, like when I said stock twitch, right? Don't go onto there and be like, oh, what's the one that's moving the most? Like, no, think of something that you're passionate about. Like, you drink Coke every day. Granted, it doesn't move, but like, you have to watch and see if it ever moves multiple times in that day, and then be like, all right, I'm totally in for this one, right? Like, you know, find something that you know anything about. Like, I was in logistics, and I got into a logistics company, and that's what my first one was, because like, passionate. I still am passionate about it. Like I can move products, right? And so, you know, I did it, and I was like, man, this is a tried and true company. Like everything about it. Yeah, they just got hit with a crap lawsuit, and the lawsuit's going to get thrown out. So that's what I did. I was like, all right, here we go. Like, you know, so I knew what I was doing, and then yes, I ventured off into other things, but I didn't just buy into it. Like, I found a medical company. I was like, I knew nothing about it. I started doing research, like, constantly. Like I researched this thing for like 2 days, you know, 12 hours a day. So guys, when I tell you like day trading, I didn't like the little bit of money that I had in there. Like my net worth, I probably had like 1%. Like but like there was times where I was like, I want to puke. Like I couldn't take a nap. Like I couldn't sleep because I was like checking to see like where it is and like doing all this and like, yeah. Every day it was completely fine or whatever, but I was like, still have to make sure I'm not losing my life right now. Like my wife would kill me. But no, you know, I say it was just when I invest my money into like something I know I want money back out of, like it bugs me. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I go to the casino because I don't know about you guys. Like some people, I've watched people throw like thousands of dollars. This is a true story. I watched a guy put $3,000 on black, right? And just stood back and was like, yeah, no problem. Like, I put $25 on black one time, and I thought it was like king shit. And I'm like, I'm sitting there just watching, go, like my heart's racing, right? I'm like, oh, and like I've lost and won on those, and so like it ruins my whole day to lose that $25, or it makes my day. And I'm like, I like that emotional high, but like I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one to do, you know. But I've watched people just. So find something that you know anything about, right? If you know about wine, there's got to be a wine company out there. You know, I mean, so we talked about, you know, there's an alcohol company out there that's you're gonna be able to day trade because they're gonna come out with something new, something special. I think, you know, let's say David, you use Ally, right?
I use Ally. I use Robinhood.
Oh yeah, Robinhood.
And I use Stash.
So Stash is really cool because Stash you can take all your change, right? So like, let's say
Acorns is the change. I use Acorns, them too. Yeah.
So you can use Acorns, right? So like, let's say you go in and you buy this mouse, right? And it costs you $3.98. It takes that 2 pennies and puts it over there. So when everything you buy, like you go buy beer and one of them gives you 98 cents and change, it just keeps rolling it over to this account. So eventually you'll build up a little bit of money and you start buying stocks with that, right? And so like it automatically invests it for you, which is really cool to me. You know, I think it's really fun. So, but like again, I use TD Ameritrade. There's you know, there's so many apps out there. Just look up whatever app gives you free trading for, I don't know, 90 days or however long. I mean, some of them will give you free trading forever, but a lot of them won't. A lot of them won't give you free day trading. I mean, like TD Ameritrade, you could do any trading you wanted for the first 90 days for free. So normally it costs like $4 or $5 per buy per sell. So, you know, like let's say I put $20 in, and so I buy $4 or $5 stocks. $4 or $5 stocks. Normally it would cost me $5 to buy that stock. So technically I would only have $15 to invest. And then when I go to sell, I have to make that $5 back, Plus, I have to make, whatever my profit after that is. So, like, I ought to, so I have to make $10 before I even profit. That's the hard part. Like, so you have to have some money to play it. So that's why I say, hey, sign up with these couple little things because they'll give you free trading. And if you call and say, hey, this person's running this promotion, that's where, when we talk about it, like on all of our episodes, call and ask for things. Because I called TD Ameritrade and I was like, hey, I think I used Ally. I was like, Ally is giving it for like, 25 cents per trade. And the guy's like, I can hook you up with that. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, no problem. Hold on. And I was like, so now I get it for like 25 cents a trade. I probably could have gotten it for free because there's probably other companies out there. But I'm not, say I traded during COVID. I'm not trading. Actually, I'm going to have my normal stocks, but I'm not trading right now.
So you bring up Anheuser-Busch, which is owned by InBev.
Yep.
And, just for an example, in the 52-week range, because they always take, the last 52 weeks of the stock.
Yep, one full year.
Yep, we have a low of $32.58.
I would have bought it.
And a high of $94.74.
I would have sold it.
Right now, today, it's worth $54.69.
So it's actually, it's $40 lower than the high and $20 lower than the low. So
higher than the low, yeah.
Or yeah, higher than the low. So it's not doing bad.
So its day range, it ran between 54.33 and 54.72 today. So, I mean, if you bought it at 54.33
yep.
and you decided, hey, I'm good with a 30-cent gain and sold it at 54.63, yeah, it still had room to go up. But, you can say, hey, I'm good with this amount of money.
Yeah, but, saying, and that's exactly it. Like, I'm good with it, so take it. But, it's not a great day trader because it only did, 30 cents in movement. You want, I mean, that's pretty good if you're buying a crap ton. So, I mean, if you have, a bunch of money that
if you're throwing 5,000 into it,
yeah,
you're fine.
30 cents is pretty good money.
If you're throwing $50 into it,
yeah,
you're wasting your time.
You bought one stock and you're going to crap yourself over losing 30 cents and you're going to be excited. So that's right. One, honestly, if you're throwing $50, just hold it for a long time. Like, let it get closer to that. I mean, it got high of 90, but let it get closer to that $70. Take that $20 victory and be like, here we go. Say you can always look up every stock. You can see their highest of all time. You can see their lowest of all time. You can see everything they've done for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. I think some of them do a 25-year, depending on what they are. I think it's called max, right? Like, so it'll show you, like, since it got open, right? Say, if anybody wants to see, if you want to know if you have some big britches, right? Look up, what's the biggest stock out there? Berkshire Hathaway, right? So, Berkshire Hathaway is a stock, and what's that? $13,000 or $130,000 right now? 13,000.
I will look that up.
So Berkshire Hathaway, right? So they ended up having to open a second. So Berkshire Hathaway, what their belief is they will never split a stock. So when you split a stock, right? So
320,000 and one,
right? So they have an A, which is that, and they actually opened a B.
Mind you, it went up 1.3% today,
which is huge money.
Yeah, that's $4,110.
That's huge money. You want some cojones, right? You throw your money in. But Berkshire Hathaway, right? So what's his name? He eats McDonald's every single day. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, right? So Warren Buffett, it's his company. They don't believe in splitting, right? They're in it for the long-term investment. They're in it forever. They're not having, so splitting, what happens is, again, so like Apple, David said Apple split. So it got up to like $400, and then what they did was they took Apple and then they made it $200 per stock or whatever they did, right? So they take $400 a stock and then they give you two $200 stocks. So you have potential to grow on that, but it also allows more stocks to be bought. Where Berkshire Hathaway is like, nope, what it is what we're going to get, and it's going to constantly keep going. So,
well, I'm always looking for value, and since Nick brought up Anheuser-Busch, I look at the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Their high point was probably around $120 a share, and right now it's at 53. So, I mean, and it's been steadily going up in the last 3 months. I wonder why. Pandemic.
I'm gonna say
Buying beer.
People are buying alcohol because they're staying home.
Correct. So, you know, if I'm looking for something to throw money into, now I don't drink Anheuser-Busch, full disclosure, he does. If I'm looking to throw money into something, I throw, you know, 4 or 5 stocks into that, you know, a couple $100.
$250.
Yeah, and you're sitting there going, you know, when it rebounds, it'll probably be up around $100 a share again, because, you know, it was at $100 a share in the beginning of the year. So,
well, do me a favor, click max on that real quick.
Sure.
So, right, like what happened, and we'll read it to you here in a second, is, you know, if you go back to 2009, right? Perfect. Go all the way to the beginning there. How much was that?
it was $45.
$45 a share, right? So if anybody remembers 2009, we're still in the recession.
Yep.
We also got hit with what's called microbreweries. Again, we're going to give back out a big shout out to Michigan Wine Company. They, you know, they're not a brewery, but they're, I mean, granted with cider, technically, yes, but, you know, they're a winery. And so everybody said, forget this. I'm not going to drink a normal thing that's been out there. I'm going to drink this new fun stuff. So it dropped, but then you go into, now what did it do after 2009 for quite a while?
It went up steadily and hit a high in June of 2016 at over 130 a share.
So like the honest truth about that is like, right, it's proof, because yeah, you've taken away a bunch of people, like, you know, a bunch of me's that were like, oh, I'm going to go drink only this stuff, and I'm going to support this local, and I'm going to drink this, whatever. But then everybody was like, all right, I can pay, David talked about it. He's not paying $40 for a 4-pack, but he'll pay $6 for a 6-pack, like, all day. Like,
so $10 for a 6-pack,
right.
$12.
You know, for a normal, I mean, granted, a Bud Light, a Miller Lite for him. Like, it's a thing I know I enjoy drinking. It's an inexpensive thing. So all these people were like, all right, the economy's coming back. Like, hey, we're just going to go drink. We're at the bars now. And everybody, like, not everybody, but like most people, like, first question coming out of my mouth is, what do you have on special? And if if Bud Light's on a special, like, it's a guarantee. If it's not on a special, I think to myself, and I'm like, if I'm paying full price, I'm probably going to get a full price good beer. If not, I'm going to get a normal thing I actually enjoy. Like, I'm not disappointed drinking it, but I'm not into this new awesomeness, right? So, you know, it's tried and true thing. So right now we're at this low. Everybody's kind of doing this thing, but watch, my guarantee, and if I'm wrong, I hope everybody calls me out on social media. But my guarantee is this thing's gonna start going up. Like, not gonna happen overnight, but watch. You know, it's gonna take 5 years, and we're gonna see it. Hey, this thing officially went up. You know, because people are starting to go, hey, all right, we're drinking, we're at home drinking, we're spending money. You know, right now it went down because all the bars closed. They couldn't. You know, if you're not serving everybody at these bars, like, you've lost money. Now you only have the you and me that are sitting at home drinking. Other people are like, nope, I'm either A, saving money, or B, spending time with the, like, I don't drink around other people. Like, you know, if you can't socialize and drink, you're not drinking. So,
well, you know, through the pandemic, Nick's one of the few families we felt good about hanging out with, because he doesn't go and interact with a ton of people. So we knew that COVID likelihood was low between both of the families. Nick's always got, you know, the pool that, you know, if you go over there in the summer, you can hop in the pool and have a good time. Him and I love talking money. So we're, you know, anytime we can hang out and talk about money, we're happy guys.
Speaking of money, pool costs a lot of money. Don't buy one.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, I got ragged on by a couple of my best friends because during the summer I drank a lot of Miller Lite. I'm not a huge Miller Lite guy, okay, but for cheap beer that I can get a lot of for not a lot of money, I'll drink Miller Lite. I can get 30 cans of Miller Lite, $15.
Yeah,
that's a savings to me.
Yeah, I say my mom. This is sad truth, the reality of life. My mom came over and said, "Hey, I'm going to return your cans for you." I was like, "It's all yours." It was $53 worth of Bud Light cans. So, I mean, right? So COVID did me all right. You know, I'd share whenever people would come over. I mean, David doesn't always drink it, but like everybody else would be like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." You know, I say, when it comes to stocks, guys, really just know what you're doing. You're never going to be an expert. Everybody says they're an expert. There's people out there that are like, follow my leads. And it was funny. When I was doing my day trading, I was on Facebook, right? And of course, everything follows you of what like you start researching. There's this guy Timothy Sykes. I'm not sure if anybody knows him, but like his things will pop up, and he's like professional day trader, and he had one on there, and he's like, this is my weak stocks, and I was like, that was successful like a week ago. So you're giving out like crap, and like it's already plummeted. Like the FDA already said no. Like, so, and like I called him out, and he's like, oh, that's why you have to get my up-to-date list and this and that. And I was like, no, you posted it here for everybody to see. And now if nobody gets your up-to-date list, you've officially failed these people. Like, if I say, hey, CRMD, like, go get it. Like, I mean right now. Like, if you do it 2 minutes later, you fail. Like, if you do it right now and first buy, like, I'll stand by that. But, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, nothing is a guarantee. But, man, everybody will say they're a professional. Nobody is a professional. I'm not a professional. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to David. Like, we can tell you, hey, these are tried and true things. They have potential to be successful. They have all this. But, like, we are not – I mean, if I'm risking my money and if I'm wrong, it sucks. If I'm right, it's awesome.
Yep.
If I'm risking your money, it sucks. You're never going to listen to me again. Like, it's going to, it's going to ruin a lot of things. So,
well, you're going to sit there and you go, man, Nick's stupid. You don't know what the hell he was talking about.
Right. And it just makes you, it ruins your credibility.
Yeah.
So I don't ever give advice. I mean, what I say Anheuser-Busch, right? Like, I will tell you, yes, I do feel like it'll stay above $30, like its lowest, because I think its lowest was, because of like beginning of COVID something, or
when everything crashed, it crashed.
Right. Like, but like I do personally, I will stand by it and say, yes, I do feel like it'll stay there, probably grow a little bit, but it's not going to grow amazing, right? Like if it does grow amazing, I look like a genius. If it shrinks a little bit, you guys are going to go, well, this guy was an idiot, but like, it's not going to do that, to my opinion. Again, it's an opinion. It doesn't happen. Right. If I tell you to buy Disney right now, I look like an idiot because
it's $124 a share, and they're laying off 28,000 people.
Right. Like, it's going to catch up to them quite, I mean, movies aren't playing, people aren't buying new toys. Things aren't, people aren't, or Florida opened up, but there's still let's go with half the population still isn't going to travel down there to take the vacation. Like, money's not getting spent there. So, honestly, if you own it, sell it. If you don't own it, right, like, don't buy it yet. Like, if I'm wrong, you haven't made money. If I'm right, then you guys are like, yeah, thanks for saving me from not making that risk. Like,
well, when everything plummeted, I went out and bought Disney because I looked at them as a stock and I said, okay, this is a tried and true company. They're going to come back. So when I say I bought Disney, I bought it in different platforms. So I bought some for Caitlin on Robinhood. I bought some for me on Robinhood. I bought some for Caitlin on Ally because right now Ally suspended fees.
oh, perfect.
You can buy and sell all day, not spend anything. So just on Ally, I bought her 11 stocks of Disney. 11. I'm not talking 1,100. I'm talking 11.
Yep.
Right now, it's gained $378.96 total, those 11 stocks. It was a great investment. If I went and cashed that out today.
6 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made almost $400 in 6 months on 11 stocks. That's huge.
Yeah. That's great money.
Yeah.
I mean, so anybody that's watching, right, just know that whatever you're doing, this is the highest risk for day trading you could ever do. It is worse than black and red. It is worse than, if you're a craps player, it's worse than throwing out $1 yo randomly in the middle. It's worse than playing the field. It's worse than picking the 99-1 horse at the horse race. I mean, probably not that, but like, statistics show that this thing is not, when you're betting per minute, per 30 minutes, hour, like, that's not the way to do it, right? Try, again, Berkshire Hathaway, $320,000 there says, hey, buy a stock that's been around forever, buy a stock that knows it holds value, buy a stock that does, like, they sit behind all of these things and they just sit on it forever. They don't sell, they don't split, they don't do anything. If one of their companies goes out, they're like, okay, we'll just buy another company that's going to come and start making money. Like, they will, right? They bought Coke. They bought, they bought all of these companies that are guaranteed things that people will consume for the rest of their life.
And that's a good point. They're buying consumable type things that are not going out of business.
Yep.
Anheuser-Busch has been around, 200-300 years.
Yes, it's been a long time.
And yeah, it's been sold a few times. The Swedes own them now. Okay, fine. That's not going anywhere. I don't think Anheuser-Busch is going to go out of business.
I don't think Miller Lite's going out.
No, I don't think Coca-Cola is going out of business. Now, Miller Lite's done some interesting things. They merged with Coors.
Yep.
So now it's Miller Coors as I drop out. Okay, I'm on the floor. Now it's Miller Coors, and that's fine, but they're not going anywhere. People are always going to buy Coors and Miller beer because it's cheap.
Well, let's say, I'd like to see the date where Coors came out with the if the mountains are blue, it's great to drink, right? Like, that probably skyrocketed because I know I bought a Coors.
I did too.
I was like, no crap, this thing is blue. Like, and I chugged the thing down. Like,
he didn't even care necessarily if
the beer was
it was right or if it was good. It's just like, hey, it's blue. It's still good. I can drink this.
So everybody's going to do a promotional thing, and if you can buy it right before a promotion happens, you're going to be successful in the stock. Again, timing is everything. So everybody says buy low, sell high. Do you know what buying low means? No, none of us do. Yeah, we can assume we can assume that Budweiser is low right now because it's half of what its high was. Do we know what its new high is going to be? Not a clue. Could it skyrocket past 120? Sure. It could also plummet tomorrow. Nobody has, and you know what? Anybody that knows the information, it's called illegal. It's called insider trading. And you're not allowed to sell it. So,
true story.
What was Snoop Dogg's best friend? What was her name? The cookbook lady. She went to jail for it.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart. Right? So ask her about it. So, but no, insider trading is it's not allowed because that's information that benefits it benefits one person, not everybody. And the world needs to benefit everybody, right? So I hope this episode was informational for everybody, educational. Again, if you have any questions or think we didn't hit something great, or if we hit something amazing and you guys are astounded, feel free to sponsor us. David, one more time on our sponsor.
Michigan Wine Company in Fenville, Michigan. Go buy their wine or their cider. I'm not a big wine drinker, but I love ciders. And
I love me some wine.
This Grant Township sweet cider, it's phenomenal. It was gone in no time with us. And a couple stories for you before we go.
Yeah. Oh, the kids. We have to bring up kids.
We have to bring up kids. So Nick and I did two short episodes last week for kids that we're only putting on YouTube. And, that came to me from one of my coworkers, Christy. She's like, I think you should tailor stuff towards kids. So her stepson, Ethan, watched it. And he was really excited he got to hear his name because when I was using examples of kids, I used Ethan's name. So he was excited about that. But he doesn't have any jars.
Okay.
But he's got 3 bags now that say saving, spending, and giving.
This is amazing.
And he's so excited about it.
And this is what we did this for, right? Like, you guys don't understand the impact that, these kids will get so excited about this. Like, we talked about it. Like, my kid wanted to open that money stuff. And I was like, no, you have to wait. I have to do an educational thing. She's like, what do you want to educate? And I was like, hold on, let me teach you real quick, right? Like, so, no, that's fantastic. Like, the information that we're giving. So I took your advice.
Yep.
I want you to know that. So since we're talking about it, David was talking about when he was a kid, he would get things. So I buy what's called paparazzi, if anybody knows what this is. So it's $5 jewelry, lead and nickel free, right? So it doesn't turn your ears green or whatever. It's $5. It makes my wife feel great, and it doesn't cost me much. But so they have kids jewelry on there, and it cost $1. So what I did was I bought her a bunch of little. She doesn't have her ears pierced yet.
Yep.
But I bought her a bunch of little rings. I bought her a bunch of bracelets. I buy every kid's thing that ever comes out, and I buy every color. And so I got it in, and I said, hey, whenever you do good, whenever you do chores, things like that, I will let you pick from the bucket. And she's like, really? So again, like, instead of paying her, like I paid her, it cost me $1. Like, I mean, and I don't have to do it every day, like, but I do it. Just, hey, here you go. And so like now, like, hey, you can pick whatever color you want, you can do whatever you want. Like, and so it's worked awesome for me. Like, I took your advice and I'm sitting here going, man, all right, like this is great. Like, hey, Emerson, hey, do you want a new bracelet? All right, I need you to pick up this, this, and this and go feed the cats. Like, and so she goes into the living room, she picks up, these 2 toys that she left, like her markers over here on the table, and she goes and feeds the cats, and she's earned something, and I'm teaching her responsibility and rewarding her, and it cost me $1.
No, it's fantastic, isn't it?
It's great. Like,
and the farther she gets in school, so like, you're going to start getting spelling tests in like 1st, 2nd grade, whatever it is. Yeah. And you're going to go, hey, if you do really good on your spelling test this week, if you get all of them right, you get to go pick a prize. And she's not going to care about getting them all right on the spelling test. She's going to care about that prize.
Well, so, and like, I was horrible at spelling. Like, I failed it. Like, so it's really fun to me because where I am successful wise, I guess I'm pretty okay. But like, they always say, like, the C average students are like the business owners and stuff like that. Reading and writing, like, I didn't care about necessarily. But I cared about all the other stuff. So like, I can't say I'm gonna reward I'm not gonna reward her for getting everything right, but I'm gonna be like, hey, if you get all of them right, I'll give you 2, like, because that's like going above and beyond to me.
Oh yeah.
But if you get like 70-80% right, like, if you show that you tried, I'm gonna give you something, right? Like, I want to reward for the action of at least like making an attempt, not the action. Like, I don't want her to ever feel bad for not trying, because like, I know I struggled, right? And like, I would study and study and study and still walk in and just go, yeah, I have no clue how to spell this. But I think that was a great thing. So like, we're gonna keep doing a couple more episodes. We just touched base, kind of like, what do you say, like 5 years and younger type thing, 6 years,
probably in that range.
Yeah. So we're gonna continue to put a couple more things out there, and we're hoping that it educates these parents and just like little tips that we've learned and we've done, or honestly, like, we've heard about. Like, there's some things that just go, oh man, this is great. Like the jewelry thing, I heard about it, I tried it, did it. Like the jars thing, I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this because I heard, I heard that Warren Buffett like made his kids keep a ledger and then paid them a quarter, like, if they kept their ledger. Like, so right, I think if we install these small educational things, like, it'll create success later.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's huge for me. I'm so excited that he's excited. Dude, like, we talked about the jars. I brought out some examples of, like, jars. But this kid has plastic bags and he's excited. Like,
he didn't have any jars, so he's like, can I use plastic bags? And she's like, sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Like, put a Sharpie. Like, your kids get to play with, like, a marker and they get to write it. Like, this is great for me.
So excited. So the other one I want to bring up is, through owning the business, we've had a lot of great people come in, and my favorite person that comes in is Nelson. I love Nelson. Nelson is now a friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Nick, I talked to Nick about Nelson before because I saw Nelson every week in July, and he's coming tomorrow. I'm so excited I get to see him. He sent me a message.
Nelson. So just for everybody else out there, so David owns Break Room Therapy.
Yep.
Whoop, 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 whoop. I have to make my own sound effects because we don't have a soundboard, so I hope you guys like whoop, 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 or wah, 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 on our sponsor. Again, real big shout out to Michigan Wine Company. But Nelson is the first ever person to fill a punch card at Break Room Therapy. So just so everybody knows who we're talking about for Nelson.
Yes. So I got a message from him today, and he goes, hey, I watch you guys' stuff. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, hey, somebody watch this. That's awesome. Yeah, how excited was I when you walked in the door and I'm like, hey, Nelson watches us.
That was great. I came in, I sent David a text and he's like, what? But it was a text that was, just said a couple of profanity things or whatever, but it was a buddy I haven't talked to in years, right? And he's like, hey, just let you know, I've watched a couple of your things, man. I think they're awesome. He goes, you know what the F you're doing? And I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, I thought it was the greatest thing. I was like, man, I've impacted some people I don't even know about. So guys, we don't know we impact you, or we don't know what you want unless you give us some feedback. So write feedback. So give us a comment. I'm going to add that now. Comment, like, subscribe, share this video with everyone. Just so we can get some type of a we got feedback from Michigan Wine Company. They enjoyed what we did. We enjoy what you do. Because
we very much enjoy what you do because that was delicious.
We definitely say we are. If you're looking to sponsor, you want a shout out. If we support your product, I mean, we're picky at some sort. We're not picky on alcohol, but we're not going to support a crap company that's doing horrible things in life.
Right.
We will definitely we will proudly support your company and what you're doing. Michigan Wine Company, you guys are doing great things out there. I actually stopped in with my wife. We tried some wine samples. We played cornhole outside. We happened to be up the road at Apple Orchard, and so we stopped in. The cider is fantastic. So.
Yep, and as Nick said, please tell us because we want to know what you want to hear about. We want to know what you want to learn about, and we want to know what you think about the stupid things we do. So. Thanks for another week, and we'll see you here next week.
Take care, guys.